Hey guys, and welcome back to Mad About Skin. With the European Union restrictions on over-the-counter retinol sales finally coming into force, I've seen a lot of people online questioning whether retinol is safe to use on our skin. Should we still be using products like this, the Olay Regenerist Retinol Cream, or this bestseller, the ordinary retinol in squalane, or should we be looking for alternatives for our skincare routine? Well, in this video, I want to debunk some of the myths that seem to be going around when it comes to retinol, so that as consumers, we can all make an informed decision when it comes to our own skin's needs. Sit back, relax, and let's discuss, is retinol safe? Now, before we get into this video, I would of course love to know your own take on everything being discussed. So sound off in the comments section below. Let me know your preferred anti-aging serum of choice. Do you go for retinol? Or like me, do you prefer your Retinal fix? Are you a tretinoin fangirl? What vitamin A derivative do you personally use in your skincare routine? Let me know in the comments section below. Whatever your thoughts and opinions when it comes to retinol, if you enjoy this style of content where we really do deep dives into what's going on in the skincare world, present all the information to help people make the right decision for them, let me know by giving the video a big thumbs up and a like. There's lots of scaremongering, fearmongering out there online, and I want to make sure everyone is armed with the right information to make the right choice. The more likes the video gets, the more widely this will be distributed on the YouTube platform. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you to each and every one of you. Now, without further ado, let's cut that waffle and delve straight on in. So I'm going to keep this video short, sharp, and to the point because honestly, this topic doesn't need to be that complex. I think a lot of the complexity comes from the misinformation and the fear-mongering that's doing the rounds online, and we can strip all of that back fairly easily. I don't like to keep people guessing to the end of any of my videos, so we're going to answer the main question up front. Is retinol safe to use on your skin? Absolutely. But let's delve into where some of these misconceptions might be coming from. So retinol has been well studied and documented for years. Like every other ingredient that goes into our skincare products, it's been tried, it's been tested, and there's already a lot of regulation that goes into it. Our products are already, again, depending on where in the world you live will depend on the levels of regulation, but there are already those rules and regulations in place to protect us, the consumer. What the European Union has done recently with their changes to retinol regulations is just take that one step further. I think some of the misconceptions comes around from the fact that the European Union announced their decisions and their restrictions without really clarifying why that was the case. That clarification came afterwards, but there was a gap, a little bit of a vacuum in between that where I think a lot of people just guessed and speculated, which honestly has driven a lot of this narrative. So let's start quickly with what is retinol. Well, retinol is a vitamin A derivative. It's one of the family of retinoids. You probably heard of others, retinal, you might have heard of gram-active retinoid, you might have heard of tretinoin, which is the prescription super high potency option. Retinol is actually low down on that list when it comes to strength, but it's the one that's most commonly found in our over-the-counter skincare preparations. So these European Union restrictions are gradually being phased in. This isn't something that's just taking place overnight. Like I say, it's a gradual introduction, but they're actually going to see the legally permissible concentration of retinol in products reduce significantly. So the maximum amount of retinol allowed in a face, serum or cream is going to be 0.3%. That's a lot lower than upwards of 5% that you might see in some existing preparations. There's going to be a further lower amount permitted in body care products, and they've explained this as being a restriction for two reasons. First and foremost, to limit the amount of sensitivity that people experience. You know, anyone that's used a retinoid will probably have experienced some sensitivity. The redness, the peeling, the irritation. You kind of fight through that, and after a couple of weeks of adjustment, you're over it and your skin can tolerate it. This isn't the case for everyone. Some people will never be able to get over that irritation, and retinoids just aren't for everyone. However, most of us will get past that and will be absolutely fine to use them. However, the theory from the European Union is, particularly on over-the-counter products that you could just buy on a whim and apply without necessarily reading the instructions or taking any precautions, the lower the concentration, the lower the risk of those side effects and unwanted irritation. This is definitely the case, but I think this is what got a lot of people's backs up because it just seems a bit nanny state, you know, a bit government control. Like, you know, people should be free to buy what they want, providing they read the restrictions, the precautions, and kind of do what the manufacturers say. I get all of that, but I think that reason is very much secondary to the main reason that has been given from the European Union, which is to reduce the risk of too much vitamin A in people's lives and in people's bodies. So retinol is a vitamin A derivative. Vitamin A, the most of which we get through our diet, is an essential vitamin that we need for day-to-day life. However, too much of it isn't always a good thing. Like with everything, too much of it isn't always a good thing. And so whilst most of our vitamin A comes from the food that we eat, we ingest it, adding a topical vitamin A derivative such as retinol to the skin will also see the body absorb some of that and increase our vitamin A intake. I think this is going to be marginal, but it's definitely a factor. And the European Union said some of the main driving forces for their restrictions in terms of the concentration was to minimise the risk of people having overexposure to vitamin A. Now, if you have too much vitamin A in your diet, in later life, there are some studies that links it to increased risk of bone fractures. Of course, it's not good to have too much vitamin A during pregnancy because it can lead to birth defects and problems. And so they took the precaution of reducing the amount of topically applied retinol permissible to reduce the risk of certain groups being overexposed to vitamin A. So is this an overreaction to the problem? I'll let you guys be the judge of that. But that is definitely the primary motivation and rationale given by the European Union for these restrictions. Now, interestingly, they've gone after retinol, but they haven't also applied these same restrictions to retinal or gram-active retinoid, both of which are vitamin A derivatives. Really though, when you think this through, actually there is some logic behind that because retinal and gram-active retinoid are more potent than retinol. They're vitamin A derivatives, but more potent. So you need them in lower concentrations to get the anti-aging benefit. Retinol, because it's less potent, you need in a higher dose. So you see it in higher concentrations in over-the-counter products anyway. There's less risk of an overexposure to vitamin A from retinal, for example, because of its lower concentration profile in products. So I think this approach backs up what their primary motivator was, which is to restrict the risk of vitamin A overexposure in certain groups. So taking all of this into account, is retinol safe to use on our skin? As I said earlier in the video, absolutely. And I think the European Union's approach backs that up. You know, as a regulator, yes, they're tightening the restrictions on retinol. But if there was any doubt whatsoever as to the safety of this ingredient, they would have pulled it from the shelves on day one. They would have kicked it out of our hands and said, absolutely not. The fact that they're making a marginal adjustment to concentrations, they're allowing for an adjustment period, they're phasing it in, all of that to me says that they know that these changes need to take place, but there's not a whole lot of urgency about it. This again plays into the narrative that retinol is safe. You just need to be mindful of exactly what you're using. Yes, in a very small number of people, there is a risk of overabsorption of vitamin A, which a topically applied vitamin A derivative like retinol could exacerbate. However, it's going to be a very small pool of people. It's also widely known that retinol or any vitamin A derivative shouldn't be used during pregnancy. This is something that has been well established and I think a lot of people are aware of. So again, the risk of that is small because of that awareness that comes with that and the warning labels on most products. Now, if you're in any doubt as to whether to continue to use retinol, I would say just switch to one of the other vitamin A derivatives that aren't covered by these regulations. My favourite being retinal. As I said earlier in the video, you need less of it to get those potent anti-aging results. So it reduces the risk of overexposure to vitamin A and you're still getting those game-changing outcomes when it comes to your skin. I want to share with you 4 retinal serums that I think will be great alternatives to retinol, which in most cases you'll get better results and, like I say, need less of that vitamin A derivative. Starting out with the cheapest, this is the Geek and Gorgeous A-Game 10, a high-potency retinal delivering you game-changing results, and this superb if you're on a budget. If you're someone that likes to restrict the total cost of your skincare routine, you can pick this up in the UK for like £14. Euro equivalent I think is €16. Super affordable, really easy to get your hands on, and I think this is one of the best, particularly when you consider that price point. The Ordinary, which is a brand much beloved by just about everyone, including myself, recently launched their Retinal Emulsion. This is great, and I think this is in response to those European Union restrictions. The Ordinary, known for their retinol products, but they're going to be restricted to certain countries. They won't be able to sell those in anymore. So they've really started to transition people over to Retinal, which I think is the perfect switch you could make for better results, less irritation. And this is the highest potency retinal you can find on the market. So if you're in it for those real quick wins, you want maximum anti-aging, this is the one that I'd go for. If you don't mind spending a little more to have a more luxury experience, and Retinal, which is great if you've got a dryness prone skin type, this is the Medik8 Crystal Retinal 10. The same strength as the Geek and Gorgeous one that I referenced earlier, but way more hydrating, super nourishing. It's encapsulated, so you're going to get a lot less irritation. Perfect for sensitive skin or dryness prone skin types. I love this one. Yes, slightly more money than the Geek and Gorgeous, but I think the technology that they employ in this really justifies that. A great, great option. Then finally, for people looking to streamline, those of you that just want a real easy life when it comes to your evening skincare routine, this is the Allies of Skin Retinal and Peptides Repair Night Cream. This is a skincare routine in a bottle. You've got your retinal in here, but you've also got antioxidants, you've got peptides, you've got some brightening ingredients. The retinal in here is also encapsulated, like with that Medik8 one, minimize the risk of sensitivity. This is doing everything. Literally, wash your face, put this on, go to sleep. I know you're going to wake up with a guaranteed good skin day. Like I say, for those looking to streamline and have an all-in-one product, this is a great option. Hopefully in this video, I've just been able to share with you why I don't think we should be as fearful of retinol as certain people would have us believe online, but also give some great alternatives. So if you are feeling a little bit uneasy about retinol, that's absolutely fine. There are some alternatives. In a lot of cases, I think Retinal will just work better for most people. So whether you're worried about retinol or not, maybe switch to Retinal. Like I say, less concentration actually needed to deliver game-changing results. And as a result, you'll get less sensitivity and irritation. Retinal, I think, is the way forward, which is definitely demonstrated by The Ordinary transitioning away from retinol onto Retinal with some of their newest product launches. Let me know your thoughts, feelings, and opinions in the comment section below. Wherever you are in the world, guys, stay safe, stay well, and love your skin. Take care. Bye.